Today we'll be talking about certain technical medical terms which are really confusing the public in the last few days, especially the terms like PCR, RAT, IgG, IgM. PCR and RAT both are tests which are conducted to find out if a person is positive or negative. We'll talk about that too, along with RAT, that is rapid antigen or antibody test. With that comes a new term, IgG and IgM. We'll try to figure out what that is as per the various research papers and interviews given by doctors. Talking about rapid antibody test, let us know something about antibodies. When someone gets infected with a virus like the SARS-CoV-2, what happens there is you build antibody. Those antibodies attack the virus and clean the virus from our system. Rapid antibody test, or which is better known as RAT, simply measures IgG antibody in a blood. IgG means immunoglobulin G. Now what it is a matter of discussion, which we'll do it later. But in PCR, that is the SWAB test, the traditional method, the SWAB test that we know, you are directly measuring the genetic material of the pathogens. Therefore, we can say that RAT or rapid antibody test measures response to pathogens, and PCR, or which is also called SWAB test, the traditional method, measures the pathogens directly. Mark my words, I'm saying RAT measures response to pathogens and not the pathogens, and PCR tests the pathogens directly. It is also to be noted that while PCR is being used as a diagnostic, but antibody tests like RAT, rapid antibody test, are being proposed and are going to be used for population screening. Population screening means screening a lot of people together, which is not possible in the traditional method because it takes more time. Because now there is a need to know how many people are actually infected by the virus in our society. Now coming back to the term that I said earlier, IgG, immunoglobulin G, with that comes another term, the IgM, which is immunoglobulin M. Now immunoglobulin M and G, what are these? IgG is the most common antibody in blood, and its work is to protect our body against any kind of infections, be it bacterial or viral. But IgG has one issue. IgG can take time to form after you are being infected. However, when it comes to IgM, that is immunoglobulin M, it is the first antibody of our body which makes the antibody, it comes out first, or it is the first line of defense of our body when a new infection infects us. Therefore, when you are infected, your body first has a rise in immunoglobulin M or IgM. Following that, usually around 7 to 14 days later, depending on the virus, the IgG starts rising. So initially IgM rises, and when IgM starts falling, IgG rises. The IgG response is the later response, and more importantly, IgG lasts longer. IgM starts quicker, it is stronger, but IgM starts later, but it is longer. It stays for a longer duration time. So when someone who has active COVID-19, towards the middle and end of that, they will start seeing IgM rise gradually. Then comes IgG or immunoglobulin G. A spike in IgG can be seen especially when the IgM starts coming down. That is, once the IgM starts going up, IgG does not react. But as soon as the IgM graphs goes down, the IgG graphs goes up or it rises gradually. This is what we look at to see if someone has long-lasting immunity. So even if the person is asymptomatic and has COVID-19, that person might show that they have antibodies to COVID-19. That means they were infected with COVID-19 and they mounted the appropriate immune response to combat the virus in the system. When we talk about immunity to a virus or immunity to a disease, we talk more about immunoglobulin G, that is IgG, because that is the immunoglobulin that lasts longer. It tells us that a person has been affected and have recovered from it. Though it is to be noted here is that ICMR has approved the rapid antibody test for COVID detection. Therefore, there is nothing to be worried about when it comes to rat.